Hello, everyone. My name is Gabrielle Valentine, and I am on the autism spectrum. Now, I don't know what you know about autism, but for me, it's complicated. On one hand, I can daydream and come up with fantastical ideas on the spot. On the other hand, I can't do the things that I think will make a big difference in the world. More on that later. Leaving me to feel both glad of my imaginative spirit and disappointed that I can't go out and protest. It's a lot to think about. It's also why this video essay won't be the most organized. I don't have a clear thesis. I guess it could be to properly accommodate autistic people, but it's been 3 years since I graduated from high school. Calling all the schools I went to see how they're currently accommodating their autistic students is a little weird. After all, I'm just one person who's making this video by myself. What I will do is talk about my life as it relates to how I currently feel about my autism. So, without further ado, my thing. Looking back, I feel disappointed that my hypersensitivity was treated as something that would only bother me when I was little. By the time I was a preteen, it is true that I could handle movie theaters, big trucks, and the sound of multiple trains going past me at once. However, my strange behavior at school was not thought to be a response to my sensory issues. I daydreamed in elementary school, blindly followed my teacher's example in middle school, and had fucking panic attacks in high school. Hello, this is editing me here to add that I also forgot to mention that I didn't forget, I literally couldn't come up with the wording until yesterday, that I also have moderate to mild spatial awareness deficits, which means that if a person is too close, is a certain distance, I think that they're too close even though they're not. It's why I had trouble reading math problems, and why I had trouble, just why I had trouble at school. Another reason as to why, because, there are a lot of students in a school, when that happens, when it happened, I struggled to cope with that just because I had anxiety because I thought that they were it was tighter than it actually was. Not in a claustrophobic way, but in a way where, I just couldn't navigate the space enough to understand that just how far apart they truly were from me, so there's actually that, another sense, spatial awareness. Just wanted to add that in there. Anyone ask me if school is too loud for me, or if being in a tight classroom with too many people was overwhelming. Just to be clear, I'm not blaming my teachers or my parents for this lack of extra help. For some reason, only high school teachers could discuss autism with their students, though it was only to work on basic social skills. As for my parents, who are not autistic, they were working with whatever the professionals told them would work best. Apparently, exposure to loud noises in a typically chaotic elementary school, an underfunded and crowded junior high school, and then an overly large secondary school with 1,400 students, while ignoring any potential sensory triggers, was the best thing for me. It wasn't. It wasn't something I could overcome. I despise the stupid overcoming narrative that everyone who taught me was forced to believe. Don't get me wrong, it's great that so many people believed in me, but they treated my inconvenient autistic issues as something to outgrow, For example, any signs of social awkwardness was treated with a brief, "Don't do that." Meanwhile, my seemingly more convenient autistic behaviors, like my wild ideas of how I could change the world, were praised. Because my social disadvantages and stimming quirks were seen as outgrowable, I would hear about all the problems of the United States as if both me and my neurotypical fears could solve them equally in adulthood. However, I didn't overcome all my troublesome symptoms. I'm still working on being 100% mentally present. Highly intense conversations still startle me, and I'm still sensitive to loud noises, and it's because of these issues that I can't change the world the way that most of my teachers probably hoped. I'm genuinely saddened by the fact that my pre-adolescent and adolescent years were spent listening to people complaining about the state of the world, and I grew up as someone who can't protest or enter politics or do anything that would make a radical difference. While I am glad that I've come so far as an autistic adult, I have a job and even tried out college, I still feel like my middle school and high school years were wasted by listening to problems that I could never solve. Or at least, in any directly radical capacity. By the way, I must reiterate that I do not blame my teachers. My special ed teachers before high school could not discuss autism. My high school teachers couldn't discuss anything outside of social skills and typical signs of generalized anxiety disorder. Meanwhile, I don't know exactly what the teachers of my other subjects were taught about autism. However, it hardly matters when the job that they wanted so badly, teaching, offered hardly anything back to them besides a few starry-eyed pupils. Nevertheless, I do wish that my childhood did not consist of so many damn complaints. So how do I feel about life today? Pretty good, actually. Like I said, I've got a job and took a few college courses. I like helping out around the house and caring for my family members when they're sick. I guess the complicated feelings I mentioned come from feeling both proud of the person who I am today and feeling bad that my childhood consisted of so many unmet needs. I did not get the support that I needed. My teachers did not get the funding that they needed. And my parents were not able to receive the proper information about how much my autism would affect me in my adult life. Now, I know that autism is a spectrum disorder. That's why it's called frickin' autism spectrum disorder, duh. However, my parents still could have been given more information as who I was became more apparent as the years went on. Looking back, my childhood as a whole was happy. I had a great family life, but my autism was definitely messy. However, I think I'm okay. It's been years since my last panic attack. Life isn't as overwhelming, and my parents still support me, even though I'm not currently undertaking any major plans like I did before the reality of being a fucking autistic adult set in. I guess that's really it. As previously stated, I don't have any real thesis or clear moral of the story. I don't even have a clear timeline of things. If I were to write a memoir, I don't know how I would organize it. Then again, I'm only 22, so maybe I'll come up with something when I'm older. That's all I have to say. This video essay was a little messy, but so was life. I'm Gabrielle Valentine, and bye.